Hey, welcome back to Keepin Kozy. Today we're talking to the rapper Lil B, who you've probably heard of for either his social media fame or for his music with hit songs like Berkeley. We talk a little bit about social media marketing, his, use of the internet and how he's able to blow up on it, and just a little bit about, content creators and, the spiritual and creative aspect of creating content in general. So thank you for watching this, and I hope you enjoy, and please be sure to like, comment, and, share it with anyone who you think may find it valuable. Thank you so much, guys. Your support really means a lot to me, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
But it's beautiful. I'm happy to be alive. What about you, man? How you doing on your side?
Bro, I'm chilling, man. I spent the
Love
day kind of just chilling in this room, trying to, waiting to talk to you, but I also watched a lot of Batman, so.
it. Yes. Yes. Which Batman?
The animated series. So you probably grew
Oh,
up with that.
yeah, that's actually a very rare. I think that used to come on Channel 2. The
Yeah.
yeah, Channel 2 yeah, Sunday morning uh you know cartoons. So yeah, Batman the animated show is very, very rare, man. I like your taste right there. You probably got some other exclusive shows you watch. I mean, what are you a what not Animorphs, was that what it's called? Or not Animorphs, but it was Beast Wars. You a Beast Wars kind of guy? You
No,
remember that?
bro, no. Just mainly I just because I grew up with it. I
Yeah.
don't really watch too much TV. I watched a lot of you though this past
Nice,
week.
man.
I
God
watched
bless.
all of your lectures. I watched
Thanks.
your interview with Noisy, and I thought those were pretty cool. And dude,
Thank you, man.
I drank the Lil B Kool-Aid, man. It was really interesting to see what you were about. And I'm
Thank
honored
you.
to be speaking with you. And I'd love to start the podcast, not trying to take too much of your
Yes,
time.
sir. Yes, sir.
So I guess I'd like to start by welcoming you
No problem.
to Keepin Kozy, Lil B. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh yeah, no, thank you, man. It's very cozy. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way we got to keep it. So shout out to the new generation of, press, publication, journalists, media outlets. You know what I'm saying? Education. You know what I'm saying? Thinkers. So it's an honor
Can
to
you
be
give a
here with
shout
you.
out to Boston College? I'm sure that'll get a lot of
Oh
kicks.
yeah. Oh yeah, man. Big shouts out to Boston College, all my Bostonians. You dig? Have fun, man. Have fun.
Dude, peace, man. I
Oh,
guess the
big peace.
first question I want to ask you is, what are you up to during quarantine? Are you recording? What are you any other
Yeah,
projects?
yeah. So I've been recording. I've been working on some production. I'm actually uh in the process now. This is a first. Your podcast is getting this first. Um, this is the first time I've ever talked about this. So shout out to Boston. I'm actually working on my second ambient project. Um, with the bass god. It's actually between me and you, first time ever to hear this. It's called Darkness Okay. So this is
Darkness,
gonna
okay.
be yeah, man. Straight ambient. You know, um,
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. Ambient electronic style music, and something that I'm super proud about and happy to add to the culture with that. But on the flip side, I definitely been rapping, working on new mixtapes. Hoop Life Volume 2 is the mixtape that is coming up next.
Yeah.
And super excited about that. Super excited about that. And who, because of what's going on in the NBA right now, the quarantine style play and everything. So I thought it would be perfect timing to, intertwine things and kind of get everything and the ideas out with that out right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just really learning, working on my focus. I'm really working on figuring out ways that I could learn to focus more. Sit in places and just be able
Yeah.
to, dedicate and delegate time to learn. And I think actually you're somebody who I can really learn from on that aspect. I mean, how do you focus? I mean, how do you, what are some advice you can give me on focus?
Dude, I don't know if I'm the person to give advice on focus. It's just
Right. Oh
with
no,
with
you
with, with this,
you are.
bro. with this, I was like, I got a chance to speak with Lil B. So I'm really like, I'm going to sit here and wait until Lil B is free to speak
Love
with
it,
Lil
man.
B. 'Cause,
Love it. I mean, and that means everything. I mean, at the same time, I mean, look, you in Boston College, so that takes a level of focus and legendary, legendariness within yourself. So, I mean, how and thank you as well, for taking time out for me. That means everything. How I mean, how did you get to Boston College? I mean, that takes a level of education, like we're going to focus and just wanting, and I guess what it shows is that if you're interested in what you're learning, or if you're interested in what you're doing, then you're going to excel at it, if I'm correct.
yeah, I mean, to an extent, I mean, it's also like, my parents are immigrants. So we had like this mentality of you have to like, try to do better than the past
Mm-hmm.
generation. So that's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a lot of like, Asian American people who come here.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's
Mm-hmm.
interesting though is like there's like the younger kids are more on the internet, like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
grow up with the internet a lot more than my generation, which is like
Right.
kids who are 22. But kids who are 16 now, like they've grown up like on the internet, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
did you
Fully.
first start using the internet?
Oh yeah. And what's funny, I think you just heard a little computer sound in the background.
Yeah.
Shout out to the PCs, you know what I mean? Alienware, Intel, the Core i7 ninth generation. No plugs. We're not giving any plugs. Just
Yeah.
but when I started the internet, probably, early days. I mean, do you remember Web TV?
No, bro.
Uh,
Like
yeah,
that
so
was
I'm yeah,
prior to me.
I can tell I'm older than you. But yeah, Web TV kind of, it was like, that was like the first kind of like internet that you can hook up to your TV, and like you could web browse from your TV. It was pretty cutting edge for the time. And this was before, I think, the year 2000 maybe. Um so I mean, do a little research on that, man. Check Web TV
Yeah.
on
Well, were
Google.
you hooked? Were you hooked to web TV? Because when I think of Lil B, and when most people think of Lil B, they think of like the internet rapper
Hmm.
personality, and it's
Hmm.
like your reputation is so intertwined with like the internet. And
Yeah.
I'd love
Oh
to
yeah.
talk a little bit more about that. But I'd love to just know like what was it like when you first started using it? Were you like, was it like a drug for you? Was it like what was it like?
Yeah, I mean, the internet, and how it's transformed, because I mean, I, I, like I said, I come from the internet where, the early days. I mean, I used to see I was, a part of the transition where, like, you see the iMacs that looked like that you could see through the desktop, like when you could actually see through them, the older iMacs, and then the square kind of IMAX that had, I forgot which games on Adobe Trail or something like that, or the old, so going through that process, and that was early, like, I mean, elementary school for me, something
Yeah.
like that. And but then, like, the typewriters and stuff like that. Then we get to, later 2000s. um Internet's become, but I don't even know if, like, Wikipedia was out then and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a wild, wild west. Like, this is when, AOL was kind of like the biggest thing, it
Yeah.
wasn't like Google so it was a blessing to just see the transitions within the internet, and kind of seeing where it's at now, where it's like the age of information is one of the songs that I have. And you know like that's kind of where we're at now, where it's like, yeah, you can ask your phone a question, and there's so, people, what I guess what I want to say is that the internet's become centralized. I think that's the word, where, like, everybody knows where to go now. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, well, most people have a smartphone. Most people, have some type of internet access. And that's kind of like the really cool thing, which now makes music intertwined with life and just everything like that. So I mean, it's really exciting.
Yeah, could you talk a little bit about like just you and the pack and like dropping the song bands and the early stage of MySpace and how you were able to blow up there?
Of course, yeah, man. Shout out to the pack, man. I just was with Young L. Happy late birthday to Keith, Stunner Man, and major love and shouts out to Demonte Lil Uno. Young L just showed me one of his songs recently, and it was amazing. That Lil
Yeah.
Uno's, doing great at rap. But you know, how we met, it was just very, a special time, a pure time. Just being kids. I met Young L, and when I was in high school, I was going to Albany High. Shout out to the Albany High. I think they call the Cougars. Albany High Cougars. You dig? Um, shout out to El Cerrito High also. Really the whole Alameda, Alameda County, Contra Costa County. You dig? But going to Albany High, I met the legend Young L, and we just grew a bond together just for the love of music, hanging out. We would hang out, listen to music, ride the bus. Just have casual conversation, laugh a lot. There's a lot of laughing. Um,
Yeah.
within our friendship, and that's like a beautiful thing to always look back on. Like, man, we had a lot of jokes and just a lot of fun times. So, eventually with working with Young L and like me and him starting to work on some music together because he was making beats and I was rapping. Now, before we met, we didn't know that each other, did those specific things. Like Young L, he made beats, and give a big shout out to his mother, Lynn, uh, who made it possible. You know what I'm saying? She's a legend as well. That's his mom who, facilitated everything and helped the group get to performances and parties and
Yeah.
just gave us a real chance to be young kids and have fun and but with a safe and a stable structure. And
Yeah.
so, like with us, like I said, I met Young L high school band. We started working on music. Then he introduced me to his friend Keith because they skateboarded together and they were friends. And Keith introduced the group to Demonte, because they knew each other from around Berkeley or something like that because they stayed near each other. And I think maybe they knew each other from Berkeley High School as well. Now, a
Yeah.
lot of people think I went to Berkeley High, but I didn't. I hear a lot of people that tell me, they're like, "Hey, I remember you went to school together at Berkeley High." I'm like, "Okay," but I didn't go there. I went to Albany High. I went to El Cerrito. So that was pretty much how everything, formulated. And then we really started making music together. Now, a big part, um, and what I'm an advocate for is, like I said, I want to give a shout out to Young L's mom, Lynn, because, being kids and stuff, she gave us a place to record at Lloyd's house. She gave us food.
Yeah.
Us being kids and stuff like that. So anytime we were there, she would cook for us or something like that. Um, she would just be there for support. You know, take us to parties and be, you know,
Yeah.
and
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 now
and be there.
now what about like just using social media? Was that something you guys did from the start, or is that something you were like you were making music and then all of a sudden you were like, "Oh shoot, we should be posting this onto like MySpace or YouTube?"
Right. Yeah, we were doing it first, and then because I believe we were making music before like MySpace and stuff before it came popular. Now it was probably out, but like we were out before all that. Like it wasn't really too many ways to promote yourself back then online,
Yeah.
besides the traditional ways of getting a record deal, which we got, but and that record deal was with Sony BMG Jive Records. Shouts out to Too Short because we signed with Too Short as well, and so that was legendary. But you know, it was now back then also too. There were music programs that me and my friends were into, and I'm not talking about like music programs for school. I'm talking about like Morpheus, Kazaa, WinMX, Napster,
Yeah.
but stuff like that. So I mean, that was a big way. We was a big chunk of how we were getting our music. But it was very interesting.
When did you start to like branch off for yourself and become Lil B? And then when did you start to become like a huge presence on social media? Like you followed like 1.4 million people on Twitter, and
Mm.
like the story is that you did that by yourself. Um,
Yes,
could you talk a
true
little bit
story.
about, yeah, could you talk a little bit about that? I think that's really fascinating.
Thank you. And it's funny, we're talking about it while I'm scrolling a mouse down right now, and I'm just thinking about my hand, and I'm like, man, you know, praying for no carpal tunnel,
Yeah.
praying for the health of my. But so coming, so doing the group, we come up with different music and stuff that some stuff ends up popping off. People end up really liking the music because we're getting it to around the people. We're at the malls, letting people hear our music, rap parties. We got a lot of different people behind us, DJs, and just a lot of different people that want to see us win. Our music ends up getting on the radio, and then it kind of just goes up from there. It's just very surreal. Now, years later, after our record deal and stuff like that, got a chance to have some downtime, and also I want to give a shout out to indie pop. Those guys played a big role in our career too. Josh, Ben, Carlo, the whole indie pop team over there. Shout out to the Cataracts, Dev, uh, even shout out Una,
Yeah.
and shout out DJ Carnage as well. And so, but so after the group, we have some downtime just to do our thing and think about where we're gonna go and stuff like that. I put it upon myself. I'm like, I definitely want to do my own thing. And when the group never broke up or anything like that, but I just I've always been a artist that needs to get my point across. Like I just love music so much, and I'm still explaining the to the world my multi facets, I think, if that's the word, or just the different the different pieces upon who I am, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
through music. So I'm explaining myself through music and art. Now, some stuff is exaggerated, some stuff is I'm creating moods and vibes and stuff like that. So you can't say, oh, everything in my music that is me. But what it is, I consider myself like a producer that creates movies or something like that. But as well as I act in them. And
Yeah.
I'm creating, and I'm making the music for him. And Lil B is the main character. And shout out to the bass god as well. But that's how I'm seeing it. So, you
Could you
know,
explain that a little? Could you explain that for some people who don't get the distinction between Lil B and the bass god and the bass movement?
so yeah, based means staying positive, being yourself, doing what you want, not letting people, change you up, or and loving people for who they are. That's what bass means. Bass is positive. Lil B, the bass god, is the ultimate positive. The bass god is the ultimate positive, the most bass being, um, just accepting. You know what I'm saying? The most accepting, just the most loving, and that's what I strive to be. Um, that's who I strive to be. Uh, and Lil B, that's Lil B. Lil B speaks for itself, but the bass god is who I strive to be, and Lil B is the bass god. So that's pretty much how it is. But going back to what we were talking about with how I got on, started with. So I just started making music and releasing it through MySpace, and that's what solo. We were doing that as a group, and then create. And MySpace was still a big platform at the time when I had some downtime. So I just started creating pages and you know, putting 5 songs minimum each page and stuff like that. And I ended up having a couple hundred pages. And just building fan bases on each page and stuff like that. And it was really special, man. And having to remember emails and stuff like that. I mean, you could only imagine. But it was just a super special time, and created a loyal, support base doing that, which transferred to the next generation and the next level, which ended up being like the Twitter, Instagram, and stuff like that. But what's funny is I actually got on Instagram late. I seem kind of to get on online platforms a little bit late sometimes. Um, just to see, I like to kind of keep my hand on the pulse of the people and what what the people are gonna be on, and just kind of make sure I'm not the only person on there. But yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Yeah, yeah. No, so when you were doing like this this MySpace stuff or even Twitter, were you thinking of it as like marketing, or were you just like just being, was it just like, was there any intention for like, I guess,
Yeah,
profit, but then also just like, what was your mind like? Were you like, okay, I'm going to do this to promote my music, or was it just like, I'm just going to do whatever and see what happens?
yeah, like it was definitely both. I've always had a marketing mindset, but as well as the music, because the music comes first. The music comes even before money. The music that's what I was marketing. I was marketing the music because I want to get the message out there. I want to make people feel better, and I wanted people to know that they have a friend. And the type of sounds that I was using in the music or what I was rapping about, because that was pretty much before I was producing like a lot. Now I was always producing here and there within the catalog of my music and stuff like that, but you know, just the beats that I chose, and other things like that, I would make sure that there was love involved on every level, because that's what I was really trying to get across is when you put those headphones on and you listen to Lil B, I wanted you to feel like you were getting a hug, or you were with a buddy and
Yeah.
you were going through another the whole another world, and which is bass world.
Yeah. Well, what about a song like in the song of Age of Information? It's like it's an amazing song, but it doesn't feel like it's a very like it feels like it's a very like, I guess, dystopian song almost, where it's
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Right.
yeah, could you talk a little bit about, like, do you think the internet is dystopian? What was your mindset like with that? And like, what do you want your fans or your listeners or just the general public to think of from like that kind of song?
And can you give me the definition of dystopian, just so I can make sure I'm on the right page with you? I mean, are you thinking like kind of like desert like, or how?
No, no, I'm
What?
thinking like just like apocalyptic, like, like if a
Right.
super, like if Thanos won, like in the Avengers.
Got you. Got you. Yeah. No, definitely, man. I mean, it definitely has those vibes, and really, coming across as like, the internet, like kind of like giving people a I think if the correct word is like a forbearance, you just giving people an understanding of like this is what's coming.
Yeah,
Like it's because when I made that song, uh, not everybody was on YouTube yet. Like not everybody was. There was people still denying the internet.
yeah,
Internet deniers. And there was there was a lot of people. So I mean, think about it like this: if you were investing in the internet early at that time, you were winning. I mean,
yeah,
because you got to realize people was talking about Bitcoin back then. I knew about it, but I wasn't savvy enough at that time to make. I wasn't even thinking, because at the same time I was still working hard on my just getting a place in society, working on getting a stable position in society. So I wasn't really even thinking about investing because I really didn't have capital to invest. But I knew about, so like, I mean, that was that early time, man. And Age of Information, I think some of the lines I said in there, I was like, the age of information, I grew up but never blew up. I'm knowing one day I'll be a big dog. Colombian cocaine white with lavish women surrounding me in my carriage. The only time I call a chick now is Bloody Mary, you know. And it's just, and shout out to, Kozy Rap and all the hip hop artists that were before me that gave me a platform to be able to express myself, because, you know, I'm keeping that song was a very traditional rap song in the sense of paying respects to that style, but as well as, anything that I do is not traditional, but
Yeah.
a traditional hip hop listener can understand that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I may be wrong in saying this, but from my limited understanding of Notorious B.I.G., it kind of sounded like your voice kind of sounded similar to his in that.
Thank you.
So I
Thank
thought
you.
that's why I really liked it, and I thought the message was fascinating because now if you go online, it's crazy. Before even, I guess Trump was like part of making it extremely polarized, but even before then, there was a lot of cancel culture. There was a lot of
Hmm.
like just anger on the internet. And is that like, do you
Yeah.
think that you were speaking, or do you think you were being forbearing to that?
Yes, I think a lot of that. That I definitely do. Yeah, with the culture, that everything, like the anger upon the internet. I mean, it's sad to see, but at the same time, it's like these are real people these aren't bots. Hopefully not. You know what I'm saying? Which they very well could be, but you know, I mean, a lot of these replies and these comments are people, man, and these are things that people feel, and it's just very interesting, and just putting out that early message, yeah, just to to spread love and to let people know, like, man, this is where we're at, and this is what's on the way, man. Like, I mean, this is before there was no TikTok out. There was, um, I mean, up there probably was maybe Instagram barely back then. Um, but that was a new thing. But I mean, this is before a lot of. I mean, this was before Tesla. Tesla wasn't out. They might have been, you know, thinking about it and having it in the works. But this was a different time in the world.
Yeah, 10 years ago. It was a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that. I mean, think about it, man. The thing is, it was a long time ago, and at the same time, it went by extremely fast.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, 10 years, man. Now it'll be interesting. When we get to 20 years. Now, my question for you is, I mean, what's changed for you within this 10 years? How have you seen the world change?
Well, I mean, 10 years ago I was like 12. So
Ooh,
like I was a kid, but I've totally,
wow.
I mean, I think the thing that happens when you get older in general is like your understanding of the world just expands, like
Yes,
you just
yes,
realize how big the world is. And I think the internet definitely plays in some ways a positive role in that,
yes, it
because
does.
like you can, you and I connected over the internet.
Yes,
But then
yes,
it's also like, I mean, I feel bad for like, I have little cousins who are like 10, and I
right.
wonder what it's going to be like for them when they're growing up, because now growing up from like, there's a word you learn in college called excarnation, and the
Okay.
word excarnation means like the essence of being a human is intertwined with being a computer or using the internet. And it's true,
Mm,
like we literally, I mean, like you talk a lot about spending all
yeah,
of your time online, and
yeah,
people in general are addicted to their smartphones, so it's this
yeah,
excarnation that I
yeah,
think is happening. And it's weird,
yeah.
like I think you and I are lucky because we have, like, I remember when I was a kid, like when I was, under the age of 10, the internet was something I'd use for homework or to like every now and then watch YouTube. But I also had other things. But now kids grow up and it's either the internet or it's Fortnite and stuff like that, and it's always connected.
That's amazing. Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I wonder what the new generation is feeling right now, and like you said, the people that are 15, 16 growing up in this, and I consider you the new generation too. Like you said, you was 12, 10 years ago. So, I mean, you're definitely a young man, young person, or whatever you consider yourself. I'm not going to call you man or whatever. That's your choice to be who you want to be. But as a young, a kind person, and a young spirit, um, I just wonder what this new generation of people think, man, and about what's going on. What's going on in the world. Very
What do
interesting.
you think? You think that they're going to grow up to be like just very negative, like the negative parts of the internet, or are they going to grow up to be like the positive parts of the internet where it's like more connected, or is it going to be the like, cancel culture or like angry internet? What do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I think I'm praying for the best, but it's gonna be rough for a while just because the internet has a lot of. I mean, literally, you can write anything and it could be published or become a story, or I mean, you can go edit someone's Wikipedia right now, you know,
Yeah.
um, and literally write their so-called history up or something like that. So it's a unique time, as well as like just being like you said, a lot there's a lot of followers, there's a lot of leaders, and there's people. I mean, the internet's very polarizing, that people know how to use it and stuff like that, that know how to use it. I mean, it's a very powerful tool. It's dangerous in ways, and but it's a beautiful thing in ways too. Like you said, this is how we met. And there's a lot of other great people and information on the internet. So I mean, ultimately, I'm feeling optimistic about it. It's just going to be rough spots for people that are growing up in it, and you know, because being a kid and stuff like that. Um, it's not that easy to have your own ideas or think
Yeah.
for yourself. Um, and it's just the experiences of different people too. um Lifestyles, cultures, how and
Yeah.
that all plays a part into how with the conformity and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
which is good or bad. There's no good or bad.
Do you think the internet kills creativity? Because like a lot of creativity comes when you're, I don't know if the right word's isolate. I mean, you definitely could speak a
Right.
little more to this, but is it
100%.
comes when you're alone, right? When you're by
Yeah.
yourself and you're thinking freely. But because
Yeah.
when people are always online, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think isolation definitely plays a big part. It can help a lot if you're that type of person that appreciates that. I definitely appreciate being alone at times. I also appreciate, kind of like a cat. I think a cat, one of my adopted cats taught me the, you know, the essence of being around people, but maybe not, hugging them or being all on them, but just being around. Because like sometimes my cat will just appreciate being around me, like just sit next to me or something. She might not sit on my lap or be cuddly with me as I might want, but her, my cat's way of showing the affection is just sitting right next to me and hanging out. So I say that to say, you know, isolation is great for creativity, as well as there's other ways of getting, like you might just go to a coffee shop just to be around people. You might spark up a conversation, you might not, but just being around people makes you happy. Now there's times where you go into social settings just for the motivation, or you'll go into nature, and just being around nature, or being around some water, um, or being around people that are in nature, can bring up great vibes, and giving you a what is the word? It is not humbleness, but it is not humility, but it's just a form, just a
Awe?
form of
Like awe?
in awe. Yeah, yeah, definitely in awe, and a form of meditation.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just being out, as well as being by yourself. So, but Answering your question about does the internet kill creativity? Uh, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think it does promote creativity. I think the internet, because I mean, that's where you can get it to the people.
Mm.
Um, and I think first creativity just has to be within you, and whether critiqued or not, but the creative spirit has to be in you.
Well,
And
does everyone have a creative spirit within them? Or
yes, yes, they do. Yes, they do. Just like everybody has a beautiful voice, everybody has a place, and because I feel like you would be an amazing artist or amazing rapper or whatever type of music you want to make, because you have a specific experience that's very special and that people deserve to hear. And it's not even about culture or anything like that. It's just about you being a human, if you consider yourself that. I'm not going to tell you what you're not, you know, but you being you, right? And the beautiful spirits you are, that is an experience that can be capsulated and put into different art forms. And the world deserves to hear your voice. Or the world deserves to hear your writing. But your voice is right now, right? So we're hearing you right now. We're seeing you. So you're giving to the world which what we need. Now there's another medium like music,
yeah.
that would be beautiful to hear you on that too. And everybody has their place, because it's not about judging and saying, for me, I'm not going to say it's bad. I've never heard any bad music, because I take it as people trying their best, and to come with, um or even if they're not trying their best, they were brave enough to try, and that
Yeah.
in itself is a big thing.
I think part of like the hesitation some people have towards starting any creative project, or just maybe any, like, I think to an extent even entrepreneurship is a form
Yes.
of, creativity or expressing yourself.
Yeah.
People are nervous of failing. Like, I think
Yeah.
what, and it's probably more scary if you're a rapper or you're a singer, because then you're really being vulnerable to the public. And I
Yeah.
guess there's two things that can happen: you can get made fun of by people, or perhaps even worse, just no one cares. And I think, what do you think about that, like that hesitation?
100%, man. It's very, very much a real thing. But once again, if you have one follower on social media, that shows you someone cares. That's one person. And so I mean, anybody's lucky to get any type of support, man. And you gotta take that with pride, and take that. You fail when you don't try. And it's debilitating sometimes thinking of the future, but we have to let the future go. And we have to be for right now. And that's easier said than done. But we have to let that go, be for now, say, what can I do right now? I'm gonna attempt to right now. This is what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna do it right now. And I'm gonna do it for the love of it. And appreciate if you get any feedback. Any level of feedback, be happy, because like you said, nobody has to listen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I guess kind of just bringing it back a little bit to your life. You talk a lot about like how when you were younger you struggled a lot with, like, I guess just feeling sad, and a lot of people feel that
Yep.
same way. How were you able to like overcome a lot of that, like, internal stuff, and just become like this guy who's, leading the based movement and stuff like that?
100%, man. 100%. I mean, really, it just took time, trial and error. Trial and error. Um, love the love of people. You know, figuring out who I was, man. Figuring out who I was and who I am. What what life means to me. What human life means to me. What other people's lives mean to me. And it that was like my biggest thing. So it took time to just figure all that out. It's not an easy thing. It's not easy to you know figure out who just what's important to you. But I think the main thing is remembering what are your core values. Your core values of being positive, being happy, loving people. Even if we make mistakes, do you still actually love and care about people? If you do, that's a big plus, and you're on your way. Now, sometimes it might be rough. Sometimes we have low self confidence. Sometimes you know um, we might not have low self confidence, but in the public setting, things might not be easy for us because we might want to talk and relate to everybody, which we have the power to and which we can. But sometimes we might overthink things, or sometimes other people aren't accepting and ready to talk how we might want to, or they might be in a place where they're judgmental, and things like that, and they're projecting their insecurities on us. But I think it's just time, trial and error, and you figure out who you are and what you represent, and you just say, I love life, man. I love life, and
So is that
uh,
how you
go
became,
ahead.
I guess, comfortable in your own skin?
A big way, yeah. I think that's a big part in how I became comfortable in my own skin. Yeah, I think that is for the simple fact that, like I said, yeah, I had to go through it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to go through it.
And I guess would you consider yourself like over the hurdle? Like do you think, you're at a, I guess, a more based state of being now?
Right, right. I think that is going to be a lifelong journey, which makes life fun. That's what a super fun part of about life, because you're consistently learning about yourself. Because I just became even better today, spiritually, and with forgiveness. I think forgiveness makes us better.
Yeah.
Um, being and that comes on many levels, even if you're forgiving yourself. Um, so I think it'll be a forever journey to accomplish that form. But I mean, once it's all said and done, and you know our final days are near, then we can reflect and smile and realize how we got here.
Yeah. Well, kind of to bring it back to like you were talking about, anyone can be an artist. Anyone can like, sing or rap, but like rap, a lot of the, one of the things that you're really, really famous for is for making hip hop more inclusive. Like
Yeah.
guys like Lil Yachty and I guess
Yep.
I think to an extent Chief Keef have said you
Yep.
specifically have helped like
Yep.
them become more comfortable with their skin. So I guess one
Yeah.
question off of that is like how does it feel to have inspired those kinds of people? But then also,
It,
like yeah, how did that feel?
it's an honor to hear the likes of, like you said, like a Little Yachty or Chief Keef. Those gentlemen are shaping music now, and we're all playing a part. Like I said, I definitely feel like I still just started, and I got a lot more to do. But for the new generation, like these guys are young, so these are going to be the guys that are going to be carrying the torch for the next generations to come. I'm gonna be doing the same, but like I said, this is for this. So you know, to be a part of these gentlemen's careers just by inspiring and doing my job. That's what I came into music to do. So all I can do is be happy because I wanted to spread the love. I came into music to say I wanted more people to be able to make money from hip hop and make music and make it, you know, uh, everybody included. And now look where we're at today. you know, from 10 years ago till now. Look at how many people are making money within hip hop. And hip hop is music, you know, and this is where, and, 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 And hip hop is love. No matter what anybody says, hip hop is love. Hip hop is expression. Hip hop is freedom. And this is what we're pushing for. And everybody deserves to have their voice heard.
You're from Berkeley, which is totally gentrified because of the internet in a lot of ways and because of tech. Can you talk a little bit about how Berkeley has changed and just, what is California like now?
Yeah. Um it's very interesting. Um, I think Berkeley always had a um, aspect of being gentrified. Now, I don't know if we're talking about like gentrification due to like wealth and having, money, or gentrification due to a certain ethnicity or race of people, I believe. But I'm not, yeah, like, because if it's the ethnicity or race of people, it's always been mixed in Berkeley.
Yeah.
It's always been a. But now money wise, it's a, you're not really getting nothing around here if you don't got a million, you know. Uh, and that's really not gonna get you too much out in Berkeley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're trying to own it. So that shows you right there where what's going on. Um, people came in and uh yeah, they locked it up. And that's rough, man. That's rough because if if didn't have wealth, or you were lucky enough to be an immigrant who, whose parents or whose family has a strong background, and mentally, as well as being able to accumulate wealth, from education or investments or something like that. It could be rough, man. It could be rough. Like a lot of the people is struggling, man. A lot of people are struggling out here, man. I mean, I grew up in Berkeley, low income housing, so it was pretty ironic because, I mean, to grow up in low income housing in Berkeley is like one of the most beautiful, like you wouldn't even know. I mean, the place that I stayed might as well what should have been a, looks like a place that you would see in San Francisco in ways. The views that I had, the access to local stores, the quality of person that was around me. Now, mind you, in my complex, there was maybe a lower vibration of people, not all of them, but there was a lower vibration of people in ways due to the low income, and which, you know, will drive most people crazy. So you can't blame them. But um, it was just very interesting, man. Very interesting.
Yeah, and like how have those communities just been impacted by the fact that like everyone who like as you said who lives in Berkeley has like $1 million to buy a house or something like that.
Right, 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 right. Um, it impacted the people a lot. Like if you weren't, I mean, I've seen people that I went to my old complex where I used to stay, Ocean View Apartments in Berkeley, California, West Berkeley, California to be exact. And some of the people that have been there have been staying there 15, 20 years, you know, um, and they're lucky. They're lucky. I don't know how they're still there. It must be a fix. It must be rent control,
Yeah.
which I think too. I think Berkeley does have rent control one, and so yeah. I mean, Berkeley's one of those kind of places that if you're there, you've been there, you're probably not gonna leave because you're not gonna find too much better than what you got down there. You know. Now, I'm not gonna say that because there's obviously other beautiful places,
Yeah.
but I mean, once you start comparing, that's where it gets rough. So you don't want to compare, but because you're gonna, where are you gonna move for that price with that type of prestige that Berkeley carries, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess kind of staying on that topic, like you're a rapper and like hip hop culture is pretty big on like money and like flexing money. I guess I want to start by asking you, like, what are your thoughts on just money in general?
Yeah, man. I think it's a tool. Um, you know, it matters. It matters as much as if whoever I'm talking to. If it doesn't matter to the person I'm talking to, it really doesn't matter to me. If it matters to them, you know, it still doesn't matter to me too. But I respect it. I like to respect people, and I like to respect. But I mean, with money, it it uh it gives levels of freedom, if you want to say that. But like I say, you could be homeless and be free. So it's just what do you want mentally, and what are you looking for in your life? So money, I really can't, because I don't know. I don't know. That's one of those things that you know it's a soulless answer for me.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about just the idea of like flexing and like what is this flexing culture in hip hop and how do you react to it?
Yeah, I think it's the flexing culture in hip hop is largely due to a lot of people that come from the hip hop culture, usually are extremely low income, poverty, uh, you know, little to no wealth, little to no generational wealth. So a lot of these people that are in the hip hop lifestyle, not all of them, but a lot, are coming pretty much, low self esteem, a lot of different aspects, and you know, the flexing gives people a perception of you that you have it, or you're not worrying, or a perception of freedom to spend. But also, the flexing culture can represent something else on the flip side, on just people like what they like, or people like shiny things, or people. I mean, because I like cars a lot. I really do. Cars are fun, man. Um, you know the, the jewelry and stuff. That's fun, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
A lot of the flexing culture. I mean, big houses and stuff. They're fun,
Yeah.
but it's. I think that's as far as what it is, and it's like, but can you still have fun in a tiny 1 bedroom place? Can you still have fun with no jewelry? Can you still have fun with a bike? Maybe no car. Uh,
I
you
think
know,
I think you can have fun with a bike,
yeah,
I
yeah,
have one,
exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But not everybody thinks like that.
Do you have any thoughts about how crypto could change rap? They talk a lot about like, there's like Facebook's creating a crypto that's going to pay, people for using the product. Do you have any like, thoughts in general on how crypto could change rap?
I'm interested interested. I'm getting a lot of people that contact me about crypto, and give me their opinions on it. Um, I'm not really into it yet, but I mean, I want to ask you personally, what do you think about Ripple? I
Ripple?
hear a lot about that. Yeah, Ripple coin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know too much about like the specific coins or anything. I know that, I mean, I can hit up some of my friends who are into it, and I'm sure
Yeah,
they'd love
do
to
that.
speak with you. But
Yeah, love that.
but I guess like, like this idea of like think about all the like, value that people like you, I think you in particular have actually driven value for Twitter and for MySpace and stuff like that. But then all of
Mhm.
the other like hip hop artists who like, a lot of people use YouTube just to watch rappers, and like you get some money from YouTube, but not,
Mhm.
not as much as, if as much money as YouTube's getting. And then same with like
Right.
Facebook. With Facebook and even with specifically Twitter, you don't get like if you get a tweet if you make a good tweet that gets, millions of, likes or whatever, or hundreds of thousands
Yep.
of likes, you don't get
Yep.
any cash for that. You've written
Right.
something that's impacted people and that's
Right.
but like you don't get any money. And I feel like what do you think about like compensation for creativity?
I love that, and I think that that's going to be a big deal within the future, and you know, something that is is very important. And you know, the next legend, and that was something I've been thinking about too. But I'll give it to your generation and tell you like this: the next legend that creates that, the compensation for creativity, they're gonna be set, because that's what it's about, man. And whoever can fill that void, because that's what, a lot of these apps and you know genius invention is just following it all the way through and filling that void that's needed. And there's a lot of gaps that society needs. I
Mm.
mean, you see Uber filled the void. You know what I'm saying? What is it? Airbnb filled the void.
Yeah.
These hotel booking apps fill the void. You
Yeah.
know, flight apps. So
Yeah.
fill the void.
Yeah, and like I mean, do you think that as someone who's got a big presence on social media, do you feel like that's something you should be compensated for? Like, or I mean, if you
Oh
think
yeah.
about Twitter, Twitter is
Oh
worth,
yeah.
they get billions of dollars every year, but then Twitter users get nothing.
I think that'll be great. Um, I think that'll be great. Uh, that's if Twitter finds a way to scale that, or make it happen. I would be open. I would be open, and I think that'll be a great thing to compensate its users. That would be beautiful, man. That'll definitely be beautiful.
Yeah, man. Well, I think you should hit up Jack Dorsey, tell him you're
Yeah, man.
yeah, you
Yeah,
should.
yeah. No, I hear you, man. I honestly, that's something to think about. If what should I tell them?
Dude, I think that's, I mean, that's the philosophy of crypto from what I've understood, is that they're trying to move the internet to be, the people who like help create the internet. So the content creators like you should be getting
Hmm.
compensated for the content that you create, and not
Right,
just like the music, because I'm sure you get money from YouTube, but just
right,
like also the, like Twitter, Instagram, everything. Like I think
right.
the like I remember when I was a kid, when I was in middle school, I'd go on. Have you heard of this thing called soccer memes on Facebook? It's a meme page.
I haven't. No.
Well, it's a meme page where they do like post memes about soccer players. And I remember I
Love
would
it.
always get like top comment because I was so into soccer when I was a kid. And
Love
it's
it.
like I think you should get something more than like, now they've given you a badge, but I think you should get, some compensation for that. And I think you're literally Lil B. So you
Yeah.
should be, you should hit up Jack Dorsey who's into crypto and tell
Yeah.
him, like content creators on Twitter should get, compensated for the content that they create. Because think about these
Yeah.
people who write really, powerful tweets, or there have been things
Yeah.
that have broken on Twitter, like news
Right.
stories that have broken on Twitter. And I think that
Right.
people should get paid for that.
Yeah. You're right. You're definitely right, man. And I'll consider that. Thank you. And and who knows, he might hear this.
Yeah, maybe, man. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
hope I would love it if he did. But just to
Yeah.
kind of
That'd be an
wrap it
honor.
up, um, do you have any advice you'd give to college students who, are one, during quarantine, and then also recent grads like myself who are, entering a really bad job economy? Do you have any thoughts, or a piece of advice?
Yeah. You know, one of the best things that you can have is education. So don't ever let anybody tell you, because you hear a lot of people sometimes say, well, this billionaire dropped out of college, or this blah blah blah. Or, these entrepreneurs didn't go to school, and but the main thing is that you guys went all the way through. You graduated. So huge congratulations. And that's something that no one could ever take away from you, and no one could take away your mind. Besides if you go crazy, but hopefully not. You know what I'm saying? So and that's just a joke, because you probably still retain that beautiful mind that you guys have. But you know, don't feel bad if stay, vigilant, stay, focused, as in, okay, if one thing doesn't happen, or the next thing, or if it does happen, this is gonna be preparing me to go to my next phase, you know. So continue to just think about it as phases. You get this your first job, bam. that's going to lead you to another position, and or it's going to lead you to a higher position, or it's going to inspire you to create software or design or create a law or do whatever that or start your own company. You know, pivot off what from your last job, and as long as they don't have any clause in your contract about competition, which I don't think you guys will be competing, but um,
Do you have
make
any
sure
advice?
that.
Do you
Mhm.
have any advice for creativity specifically? Like how do you know, like now with, AI and whatever, you have to be more in touch with your creative and human aspect of your personality or whatever. Do you have any advice
Right.
for someone who's very spiritual and creative like yourself on how other people can be like that?
Yeah, just stay in touch with your spiritual aspect. Um, take times where you're less data, um, less data driven, which I understand. Going through school, you're probably going to be 100% data driven, which is necessary. But sometimes go off your gut instinct, go from your, how do you feel about this, instead of what is presented or what's the evidence presented to me or what's the information present. Take the information from your inner that has no judgment. Don't judge yourself. um come with the from a place of peace, love, and spiritual, and ask yourself, would I do this for free? Is the job I'm doing, would I do this for free? Find what you would do for free, and that's how you know you're gonna make money. Like I would make music for free regardless if I got paid or not. It's just a blessing that I get paid from it. But regardless, I'll be making music. Regardless, I would be in field like some type of field that I can help people or be working with people or be marketing or just around involved with people and thinkers, and having a level of freedom that because that's special to me. I want freedom, you know, and I want to be around great people and do it on my time. Meet with great people like yourself, thinkers, and just amazing people on my time. So, you college students that have graduated, once again, congratulations, and you're on your way, um, to the job market. You know, take your time and just ask yourself, what do you guys love to do? What would you love to do, uh, payment or not? And if you got to have a job, and if the job that you're entering is not what you would do for free, make sure you got a hobby while you have a job. Because when you have that hobby, build your hobby, build your passion. Excuse me. You got your hobbies, but then you got the passion. you know have your passion on the side too. So what you got your job, but make sure you got the passion that you're working on too. So every time you go to work, and you come back home, and your passion might be, building a mini bridge or building a mini dam, a miniature water dam in your back, in your backyard or something.
Yeah.
So every day after work, you start building that dam, man. And once you're finished building that dam, you're gonna say, "Wow!" And you might talk to somebody in your local government or some artist and say, "Hey, look, I just built a dam in my backyard." And they say, "You know what? Come work for the government, or come, premiere this at our art show." And you'll say, "Wow, I don't got to work anymore
Yeah.
because now my work is fun. This is what I want to do."
Yeah. Well, do you have any advice for getting into music in general or specifically rap?
Yeah. So specifically, rap, and music, just come in. Pay respects, listen to it, listen to music, embrace it. Try not to have a closed-minded attitude about it and think that stuff is whack or stuff is bad. Come in because you want to be embraced too, right? Like you want people to embrace your music and love it. So come in with an open, loving heart. Don't feel bad when people give you feedback, whether it be critical, good, or bad. Appreciate that you have listeners, and But come in as you please, come in as you are, and make music and give us a piece of your spirit, a piece of your experience, because the world knows, and I know that us in hip hop and the world, we need it, because hip hop is, a part of the bigger picture, which is the world.
Yeah.
So, give it to the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess the last thing would just be any advice for how to market yourself, in on social media.
Yeah. So like I said, if look at your follower count across your social media platforms. If you got over one follower, you're lucky. Use that following to your advantage, because you got to think about the followers. Think about look, you don't got to tell me how many followers you have, right? But pick a social media platform, okay? Pick one. Yeah, tell me which one you pick.
Instagram.
Okay, Instagram. In your mind, think about how many followers do you have? Is
Yeah.
it over one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And is it over 100 or no?
Yeah.
Wow, you're lucky. So now think about it like this. Imagine all your followers and Instagram in your house right now,
Yeah.
not including the bots that follow you. So not including the
Yeah.
bots. Hopefully none of them are bots.
Sure.
So think about how many people that is.
It's a
How
lot, yeah.
That's a lot of people,
Yeah.
and
Or
and
even
that's
with this
and
this podcast, I think will hopefully get, like 1,000 views or something.
and
That's a
that's
lot.
huge.
Yeah.
And it's about the quality of person, because it'll probably get 1,000 views or how many, and at the same time, it's about it might be a special person like yourself that's listened to it and it changes their life forever, and they say, you know what, I gotta contact this guy, man, and we gotta work together because you know what, he has a great spirit, and I want to just support him. I just want to support his music because I like this guy and I want to give him a chance. So that's a big thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, dude. Thank you for your time, Lil B. It
No,
means
thank
a
you.
lot for you to, come speak with me and come speak to my listeners. And
Yeah,
yeah, dude, thank you for your advice. I think it was really good. You're a
thank
very
you.
spiritual guy, and I know that, we're going through some rough times. So hopefully your spirituality is, staying above water. But thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thank you. No, thank you so much, and love to your listeners and everybody. And Little B loves y'all. The bass guy loves y'all. Stay positive. Swag, bass, and a Little B forever, man. New art coming soon from me. Just stay tuned. Stay put. I got some special stuff on the way.